So in the morning of October 18th, I got up, went over to Penn Station, bought a train ticket to Albany Rensselaer. I was headed north to go see my friend Nancy Klepsch. She invites me up every year to Troy to go read in the Herman Melville house. He didn't write any of his classic works here, but he has this beautiful old house, and the historic district has rehabilitated it. And now, thanks to Nancy, I get to go up to Troy once a year, stand in Herman Melville's living room, and read poems to people. But I was starving, so before I got on the train, I walked across the street to this baller pizza place. You'd expect these spots right around Penn Station to be disgusting, but this was one of the best slices of pizza I've had in the city in a long time. It was like garlic in the crust, chunks in the sauce. It was delicious. So after 2 slices, I went back over to Moynihan Hall, got on the train, which headed up the Hudson River, I believe on the east side, because I went through Peekskill and Poughkeepsie. And it was a little less than 3 hours to get to Albany Rensselaer. We had a late fall this year, so everything was still pretty green in New York City, and I would say like every half hour headed north, we would get like another week ahead in season. So it made for a beautiful, beautiful ride up the Hudson. It was just getting oranger and redder the whole way. The Rensselaer station is brand new, and I don't know why they don't have direct service to Troy or Albany anymore, but this is like the main hub. I was picked up by Nancy and Lauren, my favorite married couple on earth, and then we had to speed across Troy because Nancy was a part of a book launch that was happening at an artist residency up there.
Before this, at some point I know that you can see my face. Could you ever be as strangers? And I understand, I never let you see my face. And you understand, kept us hanging on, trembling on. Pick up pieces that were left in my wake, find new paths we have hate to take.
Nancy had stayed at this residency called the Arts, Letters, and Numbers up in Averill Park, New York, which is in Rensselaer County. It's like right outside of Troy. There's a ton of stuff happening at this residency at all times. You have composers, painters, sculptors. Nancy had stayed here for a week with a bunch of other people, and you walked around the grounds, like the 100 of acres this residency owned, for a week, and then you wrote poems about it, and this night they were releasing a book with the collection of all those poems. Nancy's a great poet. I put out her chapbook a couple years ago on Bone Machine. It was called Battle, so I was really excited to see her read live. After the reading, we all went to La Perla Pizza, which was just down the hill. It was owned by the residency. Awesome atmosphere, wonderful woodwork, great wood oven pizza. I had the margarita pie, which was delicious. And after that, we went home to Nancy and Lauren's house and went to bed. The next day, I got up and I did a long, long walking tour across Troy. There is no city like Troy in this country, and I've seen many of them. It's been boom and bust in this city since the day it started. This was the furthest navigable point up the Hudson River. So this is where the Erie Canal was dug to, just a little bit north of Albany. That was necessary at the time because the whole fur trade coming from Canada and the Midwest was then brought across the Great Lakes, taken across the Erie Canal, and then shipped down the Hudson to New York City. The amount of money that flowed through this city at the time is unimaginable. It became kind of a center of vice. Albany was sort of like the more religious, well-to-do, respectable place. And then across the river here in Troy, you had endless ways to spend your money that would get you in trouble. So this is a gasholder house. There's only 5 of these left in the country. It's a structure in which coal gas was stored until it was needed. So this is before homes were heated by natural gas. It stored manufactured coal gas used for illuminating and heating houses. This house protected the gas holder from the elements, preventing wind pressure and snow from interfering with its movement and keeping the water seal that was like built around it in the foundation to keep anything from freezing inside.
And the ghosts in your house still know your name. They whisper in the Gothic refrain. The lights flash up and down and
Just found the last porno in front of the Troy gasholder house.
staying all day on the specters at night. You can stay all day on the specters.
This is pretty cool. So Troy once upon a time was so nice and wealthy that people like Norman Rockwell would visit and vacation here. And you'll see behind us in a second, he actually painted this house in a really, really famous series he had done for the Saturday Evening Post. Pretty cool. So after the fur trade kind of fell out of favor and department stores were able to grow their own mink farms and whatever, Troy didn't hit a depression, but the economy kind of slowed down, and it was kind of just based on like farming on the outsides of the city and up and down the Hudson Valley. Then once the Industrial Revolution really got kicking, Troy became a mammoth again in the Hudson Valley. Money flowing in, Gilded Age architecture, much of which is still standing. And then Troy became known as Collar City, because back then, as a man, you would have maybe 2 suits, one you wore to church or to outings, and one you wore every single day. So they both stunk, they were both disgusting, and somebody figured out that if you could just make a collar, you could switch in and out, then you could have brand new looking suits that you tucked in under those jackets. So this place was churning out collars like crazy, and Italians moved here. French people moved here. There used to be cathedrals here, which are knocked down, but there's beautiful architecture and stonemason work across the city built by those people, and it's still standing today, and it's unbelievable. This park right here, Washington Park, is one of the only other gated parks in the entire country. Speaking of Gilded Age stuff, the other one is Gramercy Park in New York City, and as you can see, this one is just as beautiful. The surroundings might not be as wealthy, but this is a lock and key park. You have to pay a due, you have to live here, and it's maintained. Nobody can get in unless they're a part of the new gentry of Troy. The blocks surrounding this park are the only places I saw in this city that still had cobblestone, and the cobblestone was well maintained.
You know the motherfucker that you've always been.
You're seeing some brickwork here. It's not as apparent on the camera, but in real life, this is a little boat. It has almost an egg shape. Old brick houses like this have to be repointed every 150 years or so. Otherwise, the brick kind of bows out, and eventually the house will collapse. These particular bricks are very expensive to replace and very hard to replace because all of these towns up and down the Hudson, Peekskill, Rhinebeck, Rensselaer, they all had thriving brick making plants at points because the clay in the banks of the Hudson River for some reason makes perfect bricks. But if the house doesn't get repointed, it gets weathered, the ice gets in there, and when it thaws, it expands and contracts, and the house will eventually collapse. It's very expensive. And every time you go to Troy, you'll see a new lot because a landlord didn't pay to have this done, and the house eventually collapsed. After my walk, I went back to Lauren and Nancy's house, and we met up with their friend Ann, a beautiful, wonderful artist from the Hudson Valley. And we went out to Coxsackie, to the La Hoff Farm, to celebrate Oktoberfest with some homemade beer.
How does your poor lesbian ass? She thinks
crisscross and then
Massive, massive crow colony. And it's like 4 times this number of crows.
Anne knew that I was obsessed with her artwork, so we were having a slumber party the night, and she went home first to bring me back this amazing piece of art that she had made. I love it. Walking down this main highway of Troy, heading into downtown to go watch Kyle Kouri film a movie with the clashbooks cool people. So this should be a fun day. I've never done this before. This is pretty funny. My boy Kyle Kouri, who I've been friends with for over 10 years, saw me post it on Instagram, and he happened to be in Troy on this day too. He has a book coming out on Clash, and Leza Cantoral, one of the owners of Clash, was filming a movie downtown. Now, I had just done a reading like a month ago with Leza in Chicago. She was cool as hell. So I was like, oh, sick. I'll come down to the film shoot. We'll hang out and get drunk later. Totally random surprise. So I got to meet up with Kyle at this bar called Meadworks downtown in Troy. Hung out with the bartender, some of the other actors, and watched them film a movie for the day, which is pretty sick because Leza's a saint and she had an open tab, which only I seem to be taking advantage of. And I learned that day that mead is pretty baller. We went out to eat after the shoot, and Michael Seidlinger met up with us, who I had just read with in Chicago with Leza, and he tells us that his house that he lives in Troy is haunted. So of course we all have to go back and ghost hunt.
Yeah, he's back here.
So, hey, Leza, Lauren's telling me about the ghost.
The kid ghost.
What'd you see here?
What?
The children, remember?
Oh.
So he was like over here.
Yeah, he was sitting with his back. It's like a felt thing. Yeah, you were with me. Leza, you were with me when I saw the little girl with the ball and the boy with the little...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Holding this fucking banana thing, okay?
Nightmare. Even that house across the street's terrifying.
It's even worse.
Gargoyle.
Going in.
Well, this is his office now, but when I had this house, this was my mystical parlor because this is where I felt her activity, and I made it all. I had my couches and all my witch books were in here, and the only like paranormal phenomenon he experienced was with this closet because the bedroom's on the other wall, and he heard like the sound of somebody like going through his coats, like moving the hangers. And he heard that the first night he was here. Rig. It's so cool.
Somebody explain what I'm looking at.
So anybody home was his first book with us. And he got a custom rig.
Wait, is this a actual like ghost detector?
No, it's just a video game rig. I wish.
Kyle and I hung out at the back of the hotel all night drinking, talking about everything on earth. We woke up hungover, and there was a hailstorm, which was pretty crazy because it was like 70 degrees. So we went to the bar across the street and got hammered all day. Worked on a new Barflies, which is Kyle's Substack. While we were drinking, I mentioned that I always wanted to visit Schenectady because that was another powerhouse city at one point. And Kyle's like, I love the place beyond the pines, which I also loved. So we were like, let's get the fuck in the car and go to Schenectady. I was basically fighting puking the whole way because I had a half a gallon of mead and then like 30 beers. So we went to Rosario's in Schenectady, which was pretty good. I can't complain. It was this guy and his old ass mom working the pizza place, which was kind of sad. I hate seeing that, but she was cool as hell, super nice, really deaf. You had to yell the order over to her, but a sweetheart. And the pizza was awesome.
Fuck yeah. I feel like you're the pizza expert. I'm eating pizza with Scott Laudati.
And we saw this crazy ass Illuminati symbol at Union College. Went to a dope ass bookstore and bought 2 books for like $2. Now on the way back saw a sign for the Erie Canal, which I'd never seen firsthand, but as a part of our American story, felt like we needed to go and visit at that very moment. So we turned down a random murder road and headed for the Erie Canal. Now Schenectady is another city, like all the others, that was integral to the fabric of this thing we call America and has now, of course, been forgotten by time. But the Erie Canal is in our blood. Is that a gun? I know it's hunting season here. Everybody's walking around in orange vests. Probably about to get picked off by a duck hunter.
Pretty goddamn spooky here.
It is, dude.
Doesn't it feel weird?
All right, we've hit the end of the trail. Well, there she is, nice and straight. A farmer showed up on like one of those golf cart things you see in the country music videos eventually. He was nice, but he was kind of like telling us politely to get out of there. So we drove south from Schenectady to Rhinebeck, saw Kyle's old house where he grew up, did a little tour around Rhinebeck, and then Kyle took me to the Rhinecliff train station. After 3 or 4 days in Troy, I don't even know how long I was in that goddamn city. I didn't have any money left. All I'd eaten was pizza, basically, for the entire time I was there. So it's time to get back on the train and head back to Brooklyn. But this Rhinecliff train station is the nicest train station on earth. I mean, look at the Hudson River just like lapping up onto the banks. It's beautiful. Another kick-ass place I would have never seen if I wasn't a writer. Take that, America.
Under a godless sky.